and welcome back to our channel. I'm Sam.
I'm Carolyn.
And this is Romeo. Romeo, did you like Infinity War?
He's come to contribute to the discussion.
Well, he might stick
He
around,
might not
he might
stay.
go. But yes, our video today is all about Infinity War. Can't believe I've actually seen it.
It was so good. It's so good. This is full of spoilers, by the way, so if you haven't seen it,
Bye, Romeo.
If you haven't seen it and you don't want to know,
Turn it off.
stop now and turn it off and watch after you've seen the film, in case.
Because we're all going to go deep. We're going to get right into it. It's been obviously 10 years in the making, and the last year of our lives been
Massive build-up.
Yeah, huge build-up and a massive payoff, and just sets up everything and makes you think of what's to come. Like, where can they go from here?
Yeah, I mean the major storyline, I suppose, is that there are some multiple deaths, potentially a total of 15.
Yep.
Because, as we'll find out, there are 3 deaths, absolute deaths that you see.
Gone. Like, well, we think. But they did die.
3 individual separate deaths, and then 12 disappearances. Could be deaths. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
It's left hanging.
We'll get right into it. How do you want to do it? Do you want to go, what was your favourite bit? What was your best bit? Or do you just want to talk about it?
Let's just talk. I think this is a lot to discuss.
So the main plot of it is obviously the Mad Titan is coming to Earth. He starts at Asgard and wipes Asgard completely out, leaving Thor in the ruins of Asgard. And obviously the opening bit is the first death. It happens in the first 5 minutes, and one that probably hit Carolyn really bad.
Because lovely Tom Hiddleston stroke Loki passes away at the hands of Thanos. It was very emotional.
Really, it was just the fact that because we sat there on one of the reviews and said, the trailer reaction was like, well, of course Loki handed him the Tesseract because he wanted to join him, and he didn't. It
was a trick.
He
was trying to trick Thanos, the idiot.
And he died. He died for his... And we also had, and I can't pronounce his name.
Heimdall.
He died. Even though it got us a bit thinking, like, how did he not see it coming?
I think he just sacrificed himself. I think he knew.
However, he did do one thing before he left. He got Hulk. That's it. Hulk through. Is it the Bifrost? Is it that's what it's called? Where he opens up the portal and it sent Hulk to Earth, so that Hulk or Bruce Banner can get a message to the people of Earth who have 2 Infinity Stones on there that Thanos, the big bugger, is coming. And he was massive. Yeah. Huge. But instead of Thanos going to Earth, he sends his Black Order. And now I'm not even going to try and pronounce half the names. One of them I can say perhaps at midnight. That's it. That's probably the only one I can say. But the rest of them I can't. But he does send the Black Order to Earth to retrieve them. And he heads his way to the Collector. Yes.
Who, again, we don't know what happened to him.
No.
Because you see him, in this, eventually, you'll see the Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor go to try and finish off Thanos at that point. And he creates this illusion of a reality which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And you see the Collector in this sort of glass cage, don't you?
It's one of his collective cages, isn't it? Yeah. It's where you saw one of the Dark Elves from Thor 2.
But we don't know if he survives that whole scene or not at the end.
Got no idea, because it's what Thor wanted them to see in order to get what he wanted, which was his stone and Gamora. Took Gamora.
So let's talk a bit about Thor. Going back to that first scene, you see Thor get chucked out into space and eventually just land on the ship of the Guardians of the Galaxy, who are just as great as they are in the 2 films that we've seen them already, aren't they?
They had, and when it came on, it obviously with the Guardians, you knew it was them because an awesome soundtrack was playing in the background, and they're all like singing along to it, and back exactly where you left off in Volume 2, like that feeling anyway. But just Thor being with the Guardians is like, oh, wow.
Well, he lands on the front of their ship. They take him in, kind of patch him up a little bit. He gets an eye from Rocket.
Oh, like later down the line, he does get an eye from Rocket. But
if you're gonna fight Thanos, you're gonna need 2 eyes. I stole this one. You can have it.
It's when he puts the eye in, I burst out laughing. I was the only one in the pictures to actually burst out laughing. I thought it was so funny. The way he looked back. Did you not think it was funny? You didn't laugh. I did.
I'm a tough audience.
It's just hilarious.
So I mean, you see them going. It's like, that's it. I'm gonna kill Thanos, and obviously Gamora is keeping a big secret,
huge secret,
and she tries to tell Peter. You see a little bit of a tender moment between her and Peter.
You realise that things have progressed since Volume 2, and that unspoken thing is now being spoken of, and she knows where the soul gem is, which is something we've not known about. We didn't know where it was, because if you read the comics, Adam Warlock's got it. Adam Warlock's not in this universe, so I thought it was pretty cool how they give it to Gamora that she knew where it was, and to tell someone would mean that Thanos could get it out of them and it put them in danger, so she kept it to herself, or at least she thought she kept it to herself. So she says to Peter, if he gets me, kill me, because if he's going to make me tell him where it is, and then the whole universe will be destroyed. That's it, because we know he knows the locations of the other 2 or 3. It's this one he doesn't know, and he needs all of them to complete it, so just don't tell him. I don't want to tell you. And he knows that she lies about it, because he ends up going back into Nebula's mind, and you see poor Nebula just suspended, just floating there with the whole of her body just pulled apart, and she's in pain, and he replays her memory. Yes, and the Gamora says, basically, I know where it is. He'll never find it. He'll never find it. I know where it is, and the more that she refuses to tell, the more he tortures Nebula, and obviously you know that Nebula and Gamora are trying to rebuild that relationship, and she can't take it anymore, and she tells him, which is, it's just heartbreaking. And Zoe Saldana really showed that everyone has an ugly cry face. She actually does. She really has an ugly cry face, just like everybody else. Not like everyone else, really, because she is still Zoe Saldana and is very attractive, but she does have a bit of an ugly cry face. It was great to see great to see Gamora's vulnerable side. Yeah. Like, just a little bit more to her than the assassin that you saw in the first one. You see it in the first Guardians film, when her and Peter have that moment where we get to listen to the music, and she's never listened to, and you see that whole connection with them for the very first time, and you see her sort of let her guard down a little bit for just a second, which is obviously let that get to her a bit more. I think the whole thing in Guardians 2, where you see her and Nebula have that really fractious relationship in the middle of the film, build it at the end, and now as we get into this film, you see Thanos take the Soul Stone, and he sacrifices Gamora to get the stone, because the rules are you have to sacrifice something to have the Soul Stone. Something you love. Somebody you love. Yeah. And apparently he loved her enough to throw her off a cliff. But before we got to that part, there was one character who I never ever thought in a million years we would ever see again. But we had the return of the Red Skull, who, if you've obviously been watching them, the last you saw him was in the First Avengers. The First Avenger, in America's First Avenger. And the Red Skull explains why he's there, doesn't he? He was cast after the whole thing with... He's now there to guard the Soul Stone, and he tells Thanos what he needs to do. And I did not know this, but that's not Hugo Weaving. Mind blow. Didn't know that. It's not until you said The Walking Dead. I didn't know that, but I knew he was in it because I've seen him at the premiere. But that does sound like Hugo Weaving. They must have put something over his voice. Maybe that. Well, has to. The wonders of technology. so the film in space.
But then after that, we see, you know, a heavy introduction, quite a fast introduction from then on, don't you, with the remaining MCU good guy characters.
Good guys.
So you then get sort of hit with Doctor Strange, you see Black Panther and everybody companion, you see Cap.
Yeah, let's just talk about the pair-ups in this film. So you've got Thor and the Guardians off on one bit, who Thor then eventually leaves with Rocket and Groot and goes off to sort his hammer out. And then you've got Tony, Doctor Strange, which was an amazing matchup, absolutely amazing. I honestly thought
arrogant people.
Exactly, but I always thought Battle of the Egos, Star-Lord, Tony Stark. It wasn't.
No,
it was Strange and Stark.
Look at Stephen Strange at the start when he thought he was the bee's knees because he was the best surgeon in the whole world, and then it had it taken away from him. Yeah, and totally knocked him
for 6. Well, Stephen he's really arrogant. Like his arrogance got him to be Sorcerer Supreme, so can't hate him for it. But he is really arrogant. He is where he is today because of his arrogance. But him and Tony, the clash and the connection was just wow. It was brilliant. Then you've got in with that group, you've got Spider-Man, Peter Parker in there, who just accidentally gets in there by accident. I honestly thought I saw Tony's heart break when he realised he was on that ship. Yeah. And he thought he'd gotten off, and obviously he got his new Iron Spidey suit with the
legs.
Oh, it was incredible. And obviously we got to see Tony's new suit as well, which is incredibly similar to Black Panther's. Like in the way that it goes on, it starts from here and goes up and over, and it rebuilds as well. Thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then who else? So that's their little group, but they eventually meet up with the Guardians, and then you've got Earth. You've got the return of Captain Steve Rogers. Oh my God, who is with Black Widow,
Vision,
no, but them together. So Vision and Scarlet Witch are together. Yeah. Which is incredible.
They were in Edinburgh, by the way, if you've ever wondered where that was.
But that was awesome to see. But then you've got Black Widow, Cap, Falcon, and was that it? Was that just them?
Yeah, and then later they end up going to Wakanda, and you see War Machine.
You've got War Machine, that's right. And it's them are the Earth Avengers, and eventually Thor joins them with Rocket and Groot. And I like how the end battle scene was not the main thing. It was a few minutes, if that. Yeah. That wasn't the main bit of it.
The big Wakanda battle scene where it's like the build-up of, is Shuri going to remove the stone from Vision's head in time? And then the plan was Scarlet Witch would destroy it. But by that point, Thanos has already got the time stone.
Doctor Strange sacrifices himself.
He totally sacrifices himself. And there was a bit early on in the film where he says to Tony Stark, if it's a choice between you, Peter, and saving the time stone, I will not hesitate to choose the stone. Yeah. And you find out that's not actually true because there's a part where he kind of goes forward in time and he says he sees something like over 14 million different scenarios as to how this plays out, and there's only one of them where they win.
And him to hand the time stone over for me is like him saying Tony has to, for this to work, Tony has to be alive.
Yeah. So
the end bit. Let's just go at the end bit.
Well, so we see a big battle in Wakanda, though. Let's not forget.
Oh, it is incredible. But it's a Marvel. It's very cool. It's a Marvel battle scene. Of course, it's going to have a lot of action and a lot of explosion. Sorry, that just annoys the crap out of us. I won't put that out. A lot of explosion in it, and it's just visually, it's stunning. But there wasn't a lot of time spent on it, which I loved because that's not what you want to see when you've got all these superheroes in one place. You don't just want to see a full battle.
Fight after fight.
You want to see.
You do get the pockets of them fighting against certain ones, but then at the end, what really matters is that Thanos just needs the one stone from Vision, and he uses the time stone to get it. That
is a really good thing as well, that you get to see him use the stones individually. As in, like, he changes reality. He obviously changes reality with Drax and Mantis at one point, where he dismembers them in a funny kind of way.
They become sort of like weird little like
she was
building
a spring
blocks,
and
and they
he
just
was blocks, and it's just. And then he obviously used the time stone to turn time to make, because Scarlet Witch has the only powers that will destroy the stone, and she eventually, against our will, decides to do it because she really doesn't want to do it. She really doesn't want to, but she ends up killing him, destroying the stone, and then he comes in and turns it back. Which I believe, in my opinion, going forward, I think the time stone is probably the most important one. This is what's going to put the MCU back together again, because if you're a comic book reader, you know this is not the end. This is not how it ends. Not because your heroes are not all dead.
Because what you see is that at the end, Thanos clicks his fingers,
but and what did we see?
They all start to just disintegrate into sort of like dust.
But he clicks his fingers, and Thor goes, "What did you do?" And his arm is just messed right up, and then he's in his hut. And
you see Thanos go off somewhere else, and it's very peaceful, and you see a young Gamora again. Did you remember?
Well, because she turns around and says, "Did you do it?" And he says, "Yes." And she says, "Oh, what cost?" And he went, "Everything."
Yes.
But when he clicked his fingers, something happened to the. I would really be interested, because I don't know if I'm seeing things, or I'm sure something happened to the gauntlet.
The gauntlet just sort of
like it crumbled.
It looks like it's almost like it's been melted in a way.
Is it too much? I don't know. Let us know down below, because I'm really interested to talk to people about that. Because it is so quick. It goes snap, done, and then the next thing you know, you've got the Winter Soldier disappear, and then you've got everyone else disappearing. Like, who went in the end? So yeah, Winter Soldier.
Well, let's see who didn't go in the end, because I think that's quicker.
Yeah, that probably is. So
the original Avengers
are all there.
So Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk.
Core 5.
Who was not in the movie at all, Hawkeye. Doesn't appear at all in this film.
Mentioned.
You don't see him.
If we're rocking, sorry, it's Portia.
Whatsoever, you don't see him. So, because all of the rest of them, there are 12 characters who disintegrate, including Black Panther, including Spider-Man, and we see that nice scene going between Tony and Peter.
Yeah.
At the end, that he's a frightened little kid, isn't he?
It's awful. It's like if you've ever seen Doctor Who, when David Tennant leaves and he realizes just before he goes through the what's it called?
Don't watch Doctor Who, so I couldn't.
Where he transforms into the next Doctor, and he turns around and just goes, "I don't want to go," and then he goes, and it's like, oh! And that's what Peter did, and it absolutely broke us. But it's when he grabs a hold of Tony. And he just goes, "Mr. Stark, I don't feel good," and it's like Tony just grabs him back.
That's his spidey sense going off.
Because he knows what's coming, like, and then he says, like, just Tony just grabs him, and it's that father and son relationship we have seen from the minute they met each other, and it's just cemented right there. And just the I think the loss of Peter will
really affect Tony.
Really affect him, because it for me anyway. I don't know if anyone else has seen this. I see father and son between them two.
Yeah, totally.
His suit is the same as his.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. He's a science nerd, so is he.
They can talk to each other on
a
level that nobody else can. And that was another thing that Thanos pointed out to Tony as well. And because he goes, Thanos, and he went, Stark, and he goes, "Oh, so you know who I am?" He says, "Yes, because I'm also burdened with knowledge."
And it's interesting that at the start of the film, considering that Tony has got that relationship with Peter, that you see him and Pepper have a conversation about maybe it's time when we had a child. In a way, he's already got
He's got Peter.
So that's an interesting theory. If it is the case that Peter really is dead, will it be Miles Morales who becomes the new Spider-Man?
There's going to be.
Is that too much?
It's
a massive twist. I mean, I think they've got another Spider-Man film coming out next year. I think it would be silly to spoil that.
I love the fact that we would have a Miles Morales in the MCU, but just not yet. It's too soon. let's have a bit more of Peter. We've just
got a new Spider-Man.
We've just getting him back, and we've got him good, and he works. But I would love to. I'd love to see Miles Morales. I think from now till next year, we are going to have theory upon theory upon theory. I've even got my own theory.
One important point that we didn't mention in regarding Peter, that he officially becomes an Avenger.
He got the Avenger.
He got the really crap. You are now an Avenger because there's no time after push ceremony.
No, you are an Avenger, or as I want to keep calling them, the Revengers. I just think that should stick. I'm sorry, but funniest moment goes to Steve Rogers when he is introduced to Groot. He goes, "This is my tree." Thor goes, "This is my tree friend." And he goes, "I am Groot," and he goes, "I am Steve Rogers." Funniest moment goes to Steve.
And I like that Thor said, "Yes, we learned it was an elective to speak Groot in Asgard."
That's brilliant.
Just like, you speak Groot, yeah.
I have fallen so much in love with the character of Thor through Chris Hemsworth. Like, I already loved Captain America before even Chris Evans came on the scene, but
I think in this film, though, that whole interaction between him and Star-Lord kind of helped, because you see that is that Star-Lord sees him, and Gamora's like, "Oh my god,"
and it's like, "Oh my god, his muscles are made out of," and he's like, stop massaging his muscles.
So he gets a bit jealous.
But then that interaction.
He has to be the more masculine one, so he starts deepening his voice and talking like Thor. It's so funny.
It's when Rocket turns around and goes, "You one sandwich away from being fat." And Rocket as well. Rocket for me is growing so much, and he did this with Yondu. He does it with everyone. He can talk to people on such a level, like he really understood. Like, he goes up to Groot and says, "I'm going to have to go and be captain now." And he's like, "Oh, losing a brother, that really is like bad." And he just tries to get him to talk about it. And
do you know what it is? Because, let's face it, we don't really know that much about Rocket, where he's from and what he is.
All we know is that he is a thing that has been put together in a really horrible way, but for something that's been put together in such a horrible way, he has such a beautiful soul, and he really shows that in every, he did it with Yondu. He made Yondu, the both of them made each other feel like special, and he did that with Thor, and he gravitated to Thor. Like, I want a Thor and Rocket film now. Carolyn made the suggestion.
Let's do it.
I want this to happen right now, because that duo is brilliant.
And let's talk about, before we sort of wrap stuff up really quick, no Ant-Man.
No Ant-Man.
Talked about, but we seem to think
him
the
and
theory
Wasp.
is he's going to be very important in the next film, we think. There's a reason he's in this story.
MCU have a plan, and whatever we think it's going to be, it's
not
probably not what it's going to be. Because my theory going into this, and I said this probably to everyone who would listen, I said, Cap will die, and we'll see Captain Marvel. Neither of them happened. Well, we did see, and this just made this film even more special, was the fact that, and I know she's going to have her own film next year, it was just the acknowledgement of her presence, and the fact that Nick was contacting her. At the end of it, when you see Nick and Maria Hill disappear just like everyone else did, just beforehand, Nick Fury had a device in his hand.
It's like a pager, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like a 90s pager.
It's a 90s pager, but with a colour screen.
Yeah.
Which can show pictures.
And it drops
and contact the alien.
And as he disappears, it drops to the floor, and you see Carol's star, and the red and blue come up, and I gasped. And a kid in front of us went, "What's that?" And I was, "You don't know. You'll never know. Well, you will next year."
Not for maybe 12 months, you won't.
Just to the acknowledgement that she's coming. That's more than I could ask for. Actually, what I really would want to ask for is to have her on there. But
nah, keep her for the next one.
Exactly.
She's got her film coming out, and I think you need to see her the first time then.
Yeah, you're right. We got so much from this film. It's still hard to even digest what I've seen, how many people have gone, and this where it's going to go. Like the thought process just keeps going and going for us. Yeah. I really want.
What do you think is going to happen in the next film? How do you think it's going to play out after seeing
all the only thing I have in my head is that the time stone is going to revert everything back to the starting point. It'll revert it back. How far we go, I don't know. Yeah. However, I personally would like to see Adam Warlock come into it. Adam is the only one who managed to defeat Thanos not just once, but he's done it twice in the comics. And I want him in this. He has been mentioned, so he is part of this universe. I just want him. I want him there. I want to get off Earth and I want to go further into space.
Don't we see that at the end of Guardians too?
Yeah. He's in the pod? He's in the pod, isn't he?
That's Adam Warlock. So he's gonna have to be in it
at some point. But because it was part of Guardians 2, does James Gunn turn around and say, right, well, he's going to be in Guardians 3? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just
think that would be a kind of a big shame not having where you've got this whole build-up with Thanos, knowing that he's so important in the comics to that situation,
and not having
I think you've got to have him in the next film. I don't
just
see
even
how you
like
can't not have him in the next film.
Him and Carol working together and because Carol is really strong. Like people are going to be shocked at our strength.
Yeah, I think you need to have him. I think you need to have you need to have Carol to play a huge role, which we know she is going to. How she's going to come into it,
don't know.
Through Tony and Ant-Man and Cap. How's that going to happen? I mean, there's even speculation now that you're going to see Shuri as the next Black Panther for a time being. Maybe you will, until they figure out the way to bring him back.
Maybe.
I think that's what you're going to see.
I think there's going to be a period of this mourning, of this loss. I don't think it's going to be like changed straight back. I think the fascinating part is going to be how they get to rewind it back. But you are going to have a stage of mourning and people taking over mantles that they didn't necessarily thought they were going to. That's how I feel anyway. But like I said, Marvel has a plan. And whatever we think, it's probably something completely different. It's going to be a long year.
So we're left in Wakanda.
We're left in Wakanda. On Earth, we are left with Steve and Scarlet, Black Widow. And it gets me confused because he keeps calling her Scarlet Witch. No, Scarlet Widow.
Oh.
Does me nothing. So we're left on Earth with them, and you've got Tony by himself in space. By himself. That's going to be interesting how Tony's going to get from space. Is that how Carol's going to come in? And he's like, oh, just flying across Titan and like, look, there's Tony Stark.
Something's got to happen.
Obviously.
Someone's got to go pick him up. Someone's got to give the man a ride.
Exactly. Is it going to be Carol? Is it going to be somebody else from space?
Is Pepper going to find him? Because the last thing that you hear is her saying,
get
yourself back down to Earth right now.
Unless she's got a spacesuit
and a rocket. She got her powers at the end of Iron Man 3.
Oh, don't even talk about that film. I watched it the other day. It was absolutely god awful.
How do you know she's not going to be fighting at the end of?
No, she could. Let's hope
not.
Don't
think so. But
let's hope not. But it's also interesting that we could possibly by that point have a Fantastic Four, or we could already have a Fantastic Four, or even characters that come with the Fantastic Four, like Galactus,
do you know what it
Silver
is?
Surfer.
I'm like done with Fantastic Four. It's great that they're now part of Disney again.
But you are done because of Fox and what they've done to them.
Yeah,
maybe
but I'm just done with it. Like,
I'm going to hold my reservations and see if the MCU can bring the first family into an amazing.
I think you need to build that.
Yeah.
I think you need to build it.
Probably right.
You can bring them in the next movie, but I think you could quite easily drop in very popular characters like Wolverine and have him.
I'll have a Wolverine. I'll have a Wolverine in there. No?
Why not?
So, on your scale of 1 to 5, where does this fit in? Or 1 to 10? Where does this fit in your Marvel movie list?
It's a 5, obviously.
It's a 5?
Yeah. Masterpiece.
I put it a 3.
3?
I'm going to put it as a 3. Yep. Winter Soldier will always be the best. Then Iron Man, and then I'm going to be ballsy and put this as 3. It's incredible. It's left it open, just like a comic book does. I love it. Absolutely loved it.
We will find out.
There's going to be more. There's going to be more, and then you're going to see some brilliant trailer reactions from us later on when they start bringing out for next year, because guaranteed this one's going to cry. Cried yesterday multiple times. Cried before the film even started.
Oh my god. So, so leave all your comments and thoughts at the bottom. Tell us what you think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What didn't you like about it? What did you think you were going to see? What did you not expect to see? What do you think is going to happen in the next film? That's the big question. Yeah. What's going to happen next film? What's your
theories?
How are they going to come back? I mean, we're going to find out a bit more because we've got Ant-Man and Wasp coming in July, I think.
Yeah.
And then we've got Captain Marvel. And then we've got the second Infinity War film without a title yet.
Without a title, so
obviously we're going to get probably some end credit scenes.
It's going to be great. But let us know. We want to know. Also, we want to thank you so much. That video, I believe, will not receive any further views on it. It ends at 57,000 views. Our Infinity War trailer reaction, the second one, 57,000. We cannot thank you guys enough.
Don't know how that even happened.
Don't know, but thank you guys so much. It helped with the more people who've been on it and liked it. It helped get us more subs. We've got so many more new people who have joined us. So hi everyone. So thank you. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like majorly incredible. So that's it. That's
the end.
The end.
And the next film is probably going to be Solo, which is the 11th of May.
And then after that is Deadpool. And then obviously we've got any trailers coming up in the forthcoming months, which we'll piece together as we go along.
Yeah.
Hopefully on this one we'll have a new intro video because I'm going to do some editing work. If not, you'll have the usual one. Hey, so that's it. So thank you very much. Please remember, like, share, subscribe. All of our details are down below, and our artwork is always done by the amazing, great Ray Paez. I knew you were going to say something like that. You can't just you can't just leave it.
He hasn't seen this film. Don't plug it. He hasn't seen it yet.
Ray.
He's a disgrace. He's an absolute disgrace, Ray Paez.
When's he seeing it?
Next week when the crowds go down. I don't know what kind of cinema he has in his locality. There must be like the only one for 1,000 miles.
How many was in ours yesterday?
He lives in like Los Angeles, so how does he not have a cinema?
There's got to be plenty. We have limited cinemas.
Go and see and stop making excuses. Calling you out yet again on this channel.
Do it. Sort it out, Ray.
I've already told him this, by the way, in one-to-one conversation, so it's nothing new.
Well, thank you very much for watching. Cheers now.
Bye.
Bye. That's it.
The end.
The end.